So Cecil Cooper committing an error, first and third with one out. And here is Willie McGee. McGee grounded to short in the third inning.
Voice came on the radio and said, well, it's be the 79th World Series starting Tuesday night in St. Louis between the Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. And I must tell you, I started to cry. I couldn't believe it. The Brewers were in the World Series.
Nobody expected the Cardinals to win the World Series in 1982.
Well, it's David and Goliath.
The fact that they had hit 220 home runs and we had only hit 67, people didn't give us much of a chance.
Watch out, Andy.
Rarely in the history of baseball have you had such a contrast. You had the big sluggers from Milwaukee, and you had the speed guys for St. Louis.
And when Game 1 began, the mismatch many had predicted appeared to be accurate.
There's a base hit to center field. Here comes one run in. Here comes another run in. And it's 7-0 Milwaukee.
Leadoff batter Paul Molitor had 5 hits, and shortstop Robin Yount had 4.
Harvey's wall bangers are banging it all over the place.
As the Brewers tallied 10 runs, making starter Mike Caldwell's job easy as he breezed to the shutout. As lopsided a Game 1 victory as any World Series had seen since 1959.
I'm just glad we didn't have a doubleheader.
The next night, Game 2 was critical to the Cards, even in the eyes of some, a must-win.
If they'd been down 0-2 going to Milwaukee, which hadn't hosted a World Series since the 50s, that'd have been a tough nut for the Cardinals to break.
But it appeared ex-Cardinal Ted Simmons was set on single-handedly taking down his former team.
It's hit well, and he will touch the ball again.
The catcher's second homer in 2 nights gave the Brewers a 3-0 lead. But in the 6th, his successor in St. Louis, Darrell Porter, came to the plate with a chance to do some damage of his own.
Runners at the corners for St. Louis.
Let's go with them bats. Come on. Let's get them bats, gentlemen. Come on.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner goes, and it's a base hit in the left field corner. Here comes Henry with a tying run.
Two innings later, Porter would be at the center of the rally that put the Cards ahead for good in a 5-4 win.
In Milwaukee, drama of the 1982 World Series continues between Milwaukee Brewers and St. Louis Cardinals. They split the 2 games in St. Louis, and now it's the Brewers who will benefit from the support of 53,000 noisy fans at County Stadium. Let's go up to Joe Garagiola and Tony Kubek.
Okay, Dick, the fans will be a factor here. I tell you, last night, you saw it on the pregame show, some 25,000 in the pep rally. But I think the center of the diamond, Tony, the pitchers, Andujar, just a couple statistics, 5-0, earned run average 0.62 September and October. But Vuckovich, since the All-Star game, 8-2. That's impressive.
Well, what we're going to see, not only are they good pitchers, but 2 of the most colorful pitchers in the ballgame. Contrasting styles. Andujar, one of the best fastballs in the game. Vuckovich, one of the best straight changes. They are not afraid to display their emotions on the field, for sure. Some silent bats in this series. Well, Ogilvy Thomas, 1 RBI. Hernandez, Lonnie Smith, Hendrick, 0 for 21. No RBI. Boils down to just 3 of 5 now.
And I'll tell you, both pitchers fearless. Right now, let's go to the PA announcer, Bob Betts, for the national anthem.
And now, would you please rise as we honor America with our national anthem. Presenting the colors is the U.S. Navy Recruiting District. Frank Charles at the Wurlitzer organ will accompany the anthem, which will be sung by a singer and actress who starred on many of Bob Hope's USO tours, Frances Langford Evinrude.
Oh, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam
So with the singing of the national anthem by Francis Langford, we're ready for baseball here at County Stadium. Andujar against Vuckovich. We'll be back.
Hi, I'm Rick Mundy. Playing high school sports is a great experience for me, almost as great as that playoff home run in 1981. Today, there are millions of high school students enjoying the valuable experience of playing high school sports. But without your support, high school sports programs will stop. Don't let that happen. Invest in America's greatest resource, our youth. Support your local high school sports programs, the other half of education. Baseball cares.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
This evening from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, NBC Sports presents Game 3 of the 1983 World Series. The American League champions, the Milwaukee Brewers, against the National League champions, the St. Louis Cardinals. Brought to you by Seiko and your authorized Seiko dealers, who remind you that people trust Seiko more than any other watch. And by Miller High Life, the best beer for the best time of the day. Welcome to Miller Time. By Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Gillette Actra Razor, the twin blade that pivots for a close, comfortable shave. A capacity crowd here at Milwaukee's County Stadium, and these Brewer fans are ready for their Brewers. They love them here in Milwaukee. Last night, as you saw, a pep rally here at the parking lot. Some 25,000 people showed up. And they'll be a factor tonight in this big, beautiful ballpark, County Stadium. Harvey Keene, and here come the Brewers. The lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals: Tommy Herr leads off, playing at second base. Oberkfell batting second at third base. Keith Hernandez batting third at first base. George Hendrick will be in right field in the cleanup spot. The catcher will be Darrell Porter. He is batting fifth. Lonnie Smith is in left field. The designated hitter, Dane Orr. Willie McGee in center field bats eighth, and Ozzie Smith, the shortstop, bats ninth. There's the lineup, if you're going to keep score along with us.
Behind Pete Vuckovich, back in Milwaukee County Stadium, here's the defense. A tricky win that Ben Ogilvie, Gorman Thomas, and Charlie Moore will have to battle. It'll be Paul Molitor at third, Robin Young at short, Jim Gatner at second base, Cecil Cooper, who I think is happy to be back on grass and dirt, at first base, Ted Simmons the catcher, and Pete Vuckovich, who once pitched for the Cardinals.
Pete Vuckovich.
He's a guy who, you look at his season stats and you would say, these numbers do not translate to 18 wins, 1 loss. Tell you why. 223 innings pitched. A lot of hits, 234, and then you throw in 102 bases on balls, Joe. That is a lot of men on base, so he will walk some. He's the kind of pitcher who loves to pitch from behind for some odd reason. Probably because he can throw that curveball and changeup over almost any time he wants.
He's a fearless pitcher, and I'll tell you, if you're interested in statistics, Jim Palmer and Pete Vuckovich tied for the winning percentage. Vuckovich 8-2 since the All-Star break.
315 down each line, 392 in the power alleys, 402 in center field. That wind should help the left-handers. They can get the ball in the air and pull it.
Unless you're a pull hitter, that 315 will really not help you too much. In the slots, 392 and 362, that's a pretty good smash. 54 degrees here, humidity 56%, clear and crisp. I don't know about the forecast, but it is crisp right now. And Vuckovich is ready, so is Tommy Herr, and we're set here for Game 3.
Joe, I wonder if now that the Cardinals, with all that great speed they have, people say they need those bounding balls. I wonder if now they will bunt a little bit more on this grass. Is this grass so deadly?
We'll find out. Tommy Herr, so far 1 for 6, 1 RBI, a double at 167. Ball one. Right one, Ricky. Now it's ball one. I'm going by the scoreboard. I didn't see Kipper's hand. There it is. He kind of gives you that Arm and Hammer call. He'll put his left hand on the elbow and give you the strike call. So it's 1-1. John Kipper from the National League. One ball and 2 strikes to count.
Vuckovich won 18 games, as we showed you, and had not been for a couple of strange accidents. Sprained his ankle walking down the hill in Kansas City for a Sunday morning start. Just 4 or 5 starts. He's got a little shoulder problem, so he would have won 20 ball games.
3-2.
So he starts out on the first hitter, Herr, the style of pitching that he's used almost all year long. The kind that will drive a manager up a wall at times, because he gets to the point where you say, we better get him out of there. He's throwing so many pitches and so many balls that he seems to work out of it.
There's that change of pace. He took something off, and Robin Yount goes out and makes the play.
You'll hear when this man comes up to bat, the fans here in Milwaukee, many times in unison, start chanting, MVP, MVP.
Here is Ken Oberkfell. He's hitting .500 in this World Series, 3 for 6 with 1 RBI, 1 run scored, a stolen base. Strike. Vuckovich goes to the bullpen 18 minutes before the game. He's really got it worked out. He says, I locked myself into a bubble, and I start thinking 60 feet 6 inches, and that's what he does. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out. Two and one. He used to take a lot of time between pitches, but then they told him that if you take a lot of time, your infielders are back on their heels, so he speeds it up. He comes right at you. Left field. In fast Ogilvy. He's there.
So there are a lot of people who think that the Cardinals are only a good ball club on artificial surface. They actually had a better won-loss percentage on dirt and grass during the regular season. Of course, they play almost 3/4 of their game on artificial surface with the 6 turfs in the National League.
Here is Keith Hernandez, 0 for 7 here in this series.
He's a key, Joe. Keith and Henry Kufalos also 0 for 7, 0 for 14 in the heart of your lineup.
You've got to get production from your 3 and 4 man, and so far the Cardinals have not had that production. 1 strike to count on Hernandez. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 outs, nobody on. Vuckovich against Andujar. Let up on the pitch, bouncing ball. Gantner has it. 1, 2, 3. And Hernandez is now 0 for 8. And so we go to the bottom half of the first. Cardinals nothing, Milwaukee coming to bat.
Here's how the Milwaukee Brewers will bat. Paul Molitor, the third baseman, 7 hits already in 2 games, followed by shortstop Robin Yount, leading candidate for the American League Most Valuable Player. Cecil Cooper at first base. Those first 3 men in the order have already been on base 17 times in the series. Simmons with 2 home runs. Left fielder is Ben Ogilvy. Ogilvy 1 for 8 in the series. Center fielder Gorman Thomas shared with Reggie Jackson the home run championship in the American League. The designated hitter is Roy Howell. He's 0 for 6 in the series. In right field, surprising bat from Charlie Moore from August on. And hitting 9th at second base, Jim Gantner. There they are, top to bottom, the leading home run hitting team in the major leagues. And those first 3 men, all 3 of them, with over 200 hits, the only men in the American League with 200 hits. Willie Wilson with 194 was 4th.
Cardinals defense, Lonnie Smith, Willie McGee, George Hendrick, Ken Oberkfell at third, Ozzie Smith, Tom Hurd, Keith Hernandez, Darrell Porter the catcher, Joaquin Andujar, who on his last wind-up pitch tried to throw the ball about 100 miles an hour. He might have been close. He really works hard at everything, doesn't he, Joe?
That he does. He is fired up, as is Vuckovich. And what a year Andujar has had. 15 and 10, 2.47 earned run average. Averages 4.6 strikeouts per 9 innings, but 1.7 walks. That's the key. Fastball is high. Ball one. Paul Molitor, who is 7 for 11, a .636 batting average here in this series. 2 RBIs, 1 stolen base, and 2 runs scored. Whoa. That whoa was not the radar gun. That was Tony, because that thing had something on it. That was as good a fastball as we've seen all year.
I think one of the extraordinary things about Andujar, different radar guns clocked at different speeds. He's been clocked at 97 one time this year. To walk that few throwing that hard is really something.
That it is. Molitor, 6-footer, born in St. Paul, now lives in Mequon, Wisconsin. 2 balls and 1 strike. Fouled out of play, 2-2. All Molitor. Third with 201 base hits. Robin Yount, Cecil Cooper. Look at that. Yount 210, Cooper 205. 616 as far as base hits, the top 3. And in this series, the top 3, Molitor, Yount, and Cooper, are 15 for 30. 3-2 on Paul Molitor. And keep in mind that Andujar has the best walk ratio in the National League for pitchers with 200 or more innings. So this would be a key play here for Andujar. Fouled out of play.
So I would think the biggest job that Darrell Porter has today is to keep Andujar's emotions under control. And if Porter can't do it, Harvey Keene is back to the split. If Porter cannot do it, Hub Kittle goes out to do it.
3-2 pitch. Straight away, center field. McGee going back, near the wall. He makes the grab. Right in front of the 402 marker. Willie McGee hauls in a long drive by Paul Molitor.
Ball carried well to straightaway center field.
So both pitchers go 3-2 on the first hitter. McGee played this ball like he knew exactly, like it was his home park. Goes straight back, turns, he found the wall. He's got a chance to be a sensational player. He runs a lot of balls down. He still can be erratic, but he's got a chance to be a super outfielder.
Here's Robin Yount. Listen to the crowd with the MVP chant. Right field. George Hendrick should have no problem. Makes the play, 2 up and 2 down. Cecil Cooper, and you'll hear him coop, coop. These fans, they back their Brewers. They love them. Cooper hitting at .333 in this World Series, 3 for 9, 1 run batted in. He has scored a run, has 1 double. There it is in this World Series, the first 3, Molitor, Yount, and Cooper. That's impressive. Strike one. During the season, that's the first 1-2-3 finish in base hits for any major league team since the 1915 Detroit Tigers. High hopper. Tommy Herr backs up, has it in time. It's 1-2-3 for the Brewers. So both Vuckovich and Andujar work perfect innings at the end of 1 full inning. St. Louis nothing, Milwaukee nothing. County Stadium is seen from the Goodyear Blimp America All the way from Houston, the pilot is Captain Tim Townley Wren from Escanaba, Michigan. It took the America 14 hours to go from St. Louis to Milwaukee.
So as we watch that first inning, we may have seen the style of pitching in these two pitchers, Vuckovich and Andujar, that typifies each league. Anytime a hitter goes from one league to the other, they will say the National League is a fastball pitching league. Vice versa, the American League is a off-speed pitching league. Well, we may have that today. Andujar, hard stuff. Vuckovich, so far, a lot of off-speed stuff.
We'll be watching it. Al Lanier is the coach at first base for the Cardinals. And at third base, Chuck Hiller. George Hendrick leads it off. So far in the first inning, Vuckovich made 13 pitches, Andujar 11 pitches. For some reason, you got the feeling this is going to be a real tight pitcher's battle. Two good workmen. Hendrick 0 for 7 so far in the series. Strike one. Fastball misses. 1 ball and 1 strike. Down the right field line, drifting into foul territory. Nobody can get it.
I often wonder if that man in your picture had talked a little bit more to the media or at all, he would not have been recognized as a better ball player. He's always ran very well. He's had RBI years, home run years. He's a good throwing arm. He goes get the ball very well in the outfield. He's never really gotten his share of credit.
But he's so honest, Tony. He says, just describe the job I do, not how I do it. That's all I ask.
He's done it well for a lot of years.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Bouncing ball. Paul Molitor, long throw. It's a fair ball. We got some problems now. They're calling it third base. He's calling it fair ball in first base.
Jim Evans, at third base, an American League umpire, was waving fair. Apparently, Davy Phillips, the first base umpire, American Leaguer, thought he said foul, and he waved it off like there was no play. It's going to be interesting what they do with this call.
It's going to be a base hit.
Well, what was the call? Was the throw there in time?
The throw from Molitor did pull Cooper off to the inside part of the bag. Now, whether or not somebody is going to have to tell, because Davy Phillips may not have seen the play, thinking the ball was fouled. He's saying he is safe at first base. Here comes Harvey Keene. There's going to be a rhubarb right here in the second inning of County Stadium. He wants somebody else to tell him what's going on. Jim Evans is the man on the right. He was the third base umpire. He said fair. Davy Phillips, the first base umpire, apparently thought he said foul. So, 2 American League umpires, a little confused in the calls that they made.
He's asking Cooper what he thought, and Cooper will give him the honest answer.
Hendrick saying, I thought I had it beaten out, Harvey.
He didn't tag him.
On the bag?
He's off the bag.
Yeah.
The confusion came in very simply when the hands of Jim Evans went up at third base, and Davy Phillips thought he was motioning foul ball. And Harvey Keene says, that's it, I've had it. Here's the play from the beginning. And watch Jim Evans, the umpire.
It's right on the line, so it's fair hit. Past the bag. He's saying fair. He first of all raised his hands in the air, which can be construed as a signal for a foul ball, like to stop play, and then he waved fair. That initial signal may have confused Davy Phillips. Watch the hands of Jim Evans, third base umpire. It's right about on the chalk. Molitor knows it's fair. So a confusion in signals by 2 American League umpires. But really the play ultimately was called right. He's at first base because Cooper never tagged him. He might have been off the bag.
And it was scored as a base hit. And here's Darrell Porter, who is 4 for 7, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. He's batting at .571. And Porter, before the game, talking to the press, said, I just feel like every time I get up to the plate, I can do something. Hit in front of the plate. Vuckovich will make the play to first base. Easy out. Advancing to second, George Hendrick.
I think Joey probably got the call from Ted Simmons to go to first base and not go to second. Try for the force out.
So here is Lonnie Smith. Lonnie 0 for 7 in this World Series. And throughout the year, he's been the man who got this Cardinal team going. Get those rallies. He was the catalyst. To his left, Robin Yount. Nice play. Throw to first is in time. Hendrick takes third. That was a picture play.
The contrasting styles that we've seen so far at shortstop between Ozzie Smith and Robin Yount. Robin, as you just saw, a glider. Ozzie Smith, more of a scamperer. Probably similar to the style of Phil Rizzuto. I saw Phil at the end of his baseball career. But look at him just glide over, look the ball right into his glove, regain his balance, exactly where Lonnie Smith was.
So they're 2 away, and here is Dane Orge, the designated hitter. He is 1 for 2. Hendrick is on at third. He's got a runner in scoring position at third base, but there are 2 outs. Vuckovich has it. Should be easy. It is. So that ends the top half of the second inning. And it's 0-0.
And Harvey Keene can rest assured that he wasn't run wasn't taken away from him, although for a moment he thought the fates were against the Brewers. Near the banks of Lake Michigan, Milwaukee, Wisconsin County Stadium. Nestled below, 53,000 fans. They brought the sweaters and overcoats tonight. Temperature predictions are down into the 40s before the 9th inning. No score. The Brewers' first home game, April 1970. They only had a week to change the uniforms from Seattle Pilots to Milwaukee Brewers. I had a chance to broadcast that game. Andy Messersmith shut up. The Brewers 12-0. They didn't start well. They had trouble through the middle 70s, but 4 years ago they became a winning ball club into the playoffs last year, and now the World Series is back in the Sun City.
So from our left field camera, we take a shot of Ted Simmons, who steps into the batter's box. He's hitting at .375, 3 for 8, 2 home runs, 2 runs batted in, and he has scored 2 runs. Simmons against Andujar. Right, breaking ball.
Not only does Andujar have the fastball we've told you about, got a good quick slider, throws a forkball on occasion. Talked to him by Huff Kittle down in the Dominican Republic.
Andujar says, I'll take it.
Whoa.
He'd do a 90-mile-an-hour over to first base.
That's one reason, well, he used to throw balls away doing that. He's settled down a little bit, and I'm sure he's very appreciative he has a first baseman who won a gold glove. If anybody gets on base, he throws the ball over there so hard. First basemen are not usually, sometimes not noted for having the best hands. He can throw it that hard. He almost threw it by him right through the webbing.
And that one stung Hernandez a little bit, because you can see by the look on his face. Here's Ben Ogilvie hitting at .125, 1 for 8. He has scored a run. Down the right field line, in fast Hendrick. He's got it. That ball was well hit. Hendrick makes a nice play.
He covers ground so easily. You look at a Willie McGee or a Lonnie Smith with those very quick, short strides, and then you look at a Hendrick with a loping glide. He's covering just about the same amount of ground, although he's slowed down a step with age.
Well, that's why he says, judge me on the job I do, not how I look. Some people say, well, if he'd go all out, that's his style. He is going all out. He makes the play, and that's what counts. Here is Gorman Thomas. Thomas 1 for 7. Hitting at .143. Ball 1.
Gorman Thomas, one of the Brewers who knows something about Andujar. They played on the same team for a couple of years in the Dominican Republic, winter baseball. Cecil Cooper, the Brewers, played against him for a couple of years in the Dominican. They'll all tell you that Andujar has changed since then. For more of a pitcher.
Foul ball. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's power against power. Gorman Thomas, 1979, had 45 home runs, led the league. 1980, 38 home runs. 1981, 21 home runs. 1982, 39 home runs. Tied with Reggie Jackson for the league lead. One ball, 2 strikes. According to Gorman Thomas, the hardest throwers, that doesn't surprise you. Danny Darwin might be the strange name in there, but baseball people, you would figure that. Nolan Ryan, Rossi, and Darwin. And Gorman Thomas is out on strike, so it's 6 men in a row. So, as we complete 2 innings of play, St. Louis nothing, Milwaukee nothing, and Andujar has worked 2 perfect innings. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. And you're looking at the ceremonial first pitch, and that's young 17-year-old Bob Bortholdt. He threw out the first pitch here at County Stadium. Young Bob is a patient at Milwaukee Children's Hospital. And the entire Brewer team has kind of adopted Bob. Don Sutton especially visiting the young man. His whole team, they just feel that Bob exemplifies real courage and youth. And he's having the thrill of a lifetime tonight. He threw out the first pitch. So we go to the top of the 3rd inning, no score, and for the play-by-play, here is Dick Enberg.
Thank you, Joe. Pete Vuckovich allowed 1 hit, the controversial single. Ground hit by Hendrick in the last inning. Works to Willie McGee. Here in the 3rd inning, no score. They're tied at 1 game apiece. A pivotal 3rd game here at County Stadium, Milwaukee, as these fans have cheered the return of the series to the city, first time since 57 and 58. Yount will have to hurry. And gets in. And as you had pointed out before, Tony, Yount, whether he's throwing off the right foot, left foot, he glides and makes it all look so easy.
I think, Dick, it's something because when he first came out, at the age of 18, they originally thought he wouldn't be able to play shortstop. Harvey Keene worked with him as the infield instructor. They were going to make him a center fielder, and Molitor was going to become the shortstop. And look how it's changed.
Meanwhile, Paul Molitor has wound up in the outfield, shortstop, center field, left field. Now perhaps has found his home at 3rd base. Ozzie Smith, he's been dazzling in the field and has chipped in with a bat, 2 for 7. From Cal Poly, San Luis Obispo, quaint community near the coast in California, north of Los Angeles. I asked him about his fielding skills. I said, "Did you do anything different?" He said, "Well, I knew I wasn't going to be a very big man, so I was the first one on the field and the last one to leave." Played in the same recreational team in Los Angeles as Eddie Murray of the Orioles. That's a pretty good start for an infield.
McGee and Ozzie Smith, look for those kinds of people to be up front of your lineup, ahead of those 3, 4, and 5 hitters.
Problem down in the left field corner, perhaps with a banner or a light.
Well, right in that corner in the League Championship Series, Fan reached out. That's where the controversial play came when Ogilvy went back. Fan reached out. It was a home run, although the replays, and Larry Barnett, those umpires did a great job. He admitted later, the replay showed him that he made the wrong call.
A tough call. The kid who picked it out of the glove was so quick at it, you didn't see it until they replayed it 3 or 4 times. Yount another chance, and he gets his opposing shortstop Smith on a close call. Boy, Vuckovich has the ground ball working. That's 7 in a row.
You know, Tony, as we watch Yount, he got the label about making errors, a lot of errors when he first came up. And he has to get a very fast Ozzie Smith.
He didn't get a good jump out of the box because he had to reach for the ball. It was outside. A healthy Ozzie Smith, he's about 1 step shy defensively, and right there, he's got a severe bruise in his thigh.
2 outs in the 3rd inning, and Tommy Herr, the leadoff man, he popped it short. Herr and Oberkfell led off the 1st inning with a pop fly and a fly out. Since then, everything's been on the ground. So Vuckovich pitching in his pattern. Sinkers, sliders, change of pace. Herr has had much more success batting from the left side, not only on grass versus artificial turf, but hitting from that left side this year, 294. Right side, only 201. Excuse me, swing, and it's Gantner's chance. Vuckovich retires. The Cardinals on 3 consecutive ground balls. In the bottom of the 3rd inning, Milwaukee will send up the lower third of their order. Roy Howell, followed by Charlie Moore and Jim Gantner. 2.5 in the book. No score. A reminder, NBC Sports presents a full day of action on Sunday. NFL 82 will kick it off with a special 1-hour edition. All the latest from the strike talks. Then it's NBC Sports Special starting at 1:30 Eastern Time. You'll see championship NASCAR racing. Darrell Waltrip and Bobby Allison battle it out on the Charlotte 500. Plus live boxing. Livingston Bramble battles with James Bubba Bushimi in a 10-round lightweight fight. Capping off the day, Game 5 of this World Series. This Fall Classic brought to you the way only NBC Sports can. That's all Sunday on NBC Sports. Roy Howell looking for his first World Series hit. 0 for 6, the designated hitter. Broken bat, chopper to short. And the Wizard of Oz, they call him, Ozzie Smith, has another assist.
With Oz spelled A-H-S or O-Z.
Either way.
He has a way of throwing that I have seen very few shortstops throw. On a play like that, and of course he's got the great balance, it's almost a snap throw just from the elbow to the fingers. Watch the way he throws. He gets the ball off the glove hand, as he looks at it, as he goes, boom. He has such great action just with the lower part of his arm. He gets so much on it. And he's so much quicker than extending that arm and letting it go.
Charlie Moore, one of the stars of the American League Playoff Series, and he's continued right on in this World Series, 4 for 9. Moore with a couple of doubles in those 4 hits. 2-0. 3-0. Now these Brewer fans looking for a chance to explode with their cheers. Ball 4. Andujar does not give many free tickets, as has already been noted, so Darrell Porter out to chat with his right-hander. I wonder about the mound itself. It was interesting when Tom Seaver came out early to the ballpark. First thing he did, he walked out to the mound and assumed the pitcher's position. I said, is it a good mound? He said, yeah, I really like it, but this is the first time Andujar has had a chance to work on it. There has to be some adjustment for any pitcher. Foreign environment. Jim Gantner, 2 for 8 in the series. Brewers with their first base runner. We're in the last of the 3rd. No score.
He just went to his mouth, and he's getting warned. He got the ball back, and while it was on his way to Fernandez, he went to his mouth on the pitcher's rubber, was straddling the rubber, and Kibler's going out right now. I think to give him a warning. You betcha, right there. He threw over, and while Hernandez flipped it back,
ball 1. He called it a ball.
Okay. Put his whole tips of his fingers in his mouth, and he got caught. He said, that's ball 1. Why?
Andujar probably feels that he doesn't use that pitch. He wasn't trying to do anything, just a nervous reaction, but nevertheless, it's in the book. You bet.
Line drive, base hit. Moore on his way to 3rd. Gantner going for a double, and he has it. Jim Gantner, a .295 hitter, hitting in the 9th spot in the batting order. A line double, and the Brewers are in business. Second and third, 1 out.
So 2 balls and 1 strike. Moore was not going. Fastball looked like it was out over the plate. Gantner drills it in the corner. Hendricks really didn't have a whole lot on the throw as Hernandez takes the cutoff.
And here's the hitting star thus far. 7 base hits in 2 games, Paul Molitor. He hit a 402-foot out to straightaway center. Infield in at the corners, back up the middle. Molitor flirting with a home run to lead off the first inning. Misses, 2-0. First base is open. On deck hitter is Robin Yount.
First taking a pitch from the stretch, shows that runner at second a little bit closer. He might not score on the ball, and you keep that guy in third base from getting the walk-in lead in the event that Harvey Keene thinks squeeze play with 1 out.
That's not the kind of swing you want on 2-0, as Molitor could not check back in the foul ball.
It's a pretty good pitch when you're behind 2-0. As we look at Moore and Gantner at second, go to some kind of off-speed pitch.
Missing away. Even with an outstanding hitter, Yount on deck, with first base open, if he does walk Molitor, he's got a chance at the double play. Molitor was swinging 2-0. Pops it up, could be a play. Porter. Not enough room. There are some temporary seats in that area. In the normal alignment here at County Stadium, a non-playoff seating arrangement, he might have been able to lean in a row and pick it off.
Give you an idea of that last pitch as we look at the temporary seats at World Series time. The idea of the kind of fastball that Andujar has, 3-1. You know Molitor's sitting on a good fastball hitter, and he's laid out.
Almost a collegiate crowd chant. Here we go, Brewers. He got him. He sidearmed him with a breaking pitch, and Molitor chased it. Second strikeout for Andujar, and what a spot for it.
Will show you, even though his control's been a little bit shaky thus far, Andujar, that he has no fear of throwing the ball out of the strike zone from down at the side, although that might have been, but breaking ball in that situation. It'll show you the way Vuckovich and this guy Andujar can pitch. Tremendous confidence in off-speed stuff.
You just want to make sure with that breaking ball you don't get it inside, because the natural motion, right-handed, the hitter will be pulling back from the plate and keep it inside. You're in trouble, but he pinned it perfectly out off the outside edge.
Andujar on the strikeout. Molitor, told you, these two pitchers will do some emoting on the mound.
So it's up to Robin Yount with 2 away. Misses, 1-1. Tommy Herr, and the inning is over. So Joaquin Andujar pitches out of trouble. Second and third, 1 away, strikes out Molitor and grounds out Yount. And we've completed 3 innings at County Stadium in Milwaukee. St. Louis and the Brewers, no score. Top of the 4th inning, and on the St. Louis lineup card, it'll be Oberkfell, Hernandez, and Hendrick to face Vuckovich. And Tom Seaver, he's looked at quite a few of those in his career.
Dick, that's an example of what the manager will keep in the dugout. Whitey Herzog keeps it right up behind him, and it'll have all the information he needs to run the ball game. The lineup, his lineup, the opposing lineup, and the pinch hitters that he has. And you'll see Ramsey's name in the middle there, but it's because he's a switch hitter. And then the names on the other side that Harvey Keene will have for his ball club. So he knows who he has to work, and he knows who Harvey Keene has to use the pinch hits. And they're stretched out. And we'll try and show you, keeping a copy up here in the booth, and we'll try and show you what a used card will look like maybe in the 7th or 8th inning if there are a lot of player changes as the game goes on.
First pitch to Oberkfell is fouled off. The reason why the card appeared to be a little wavy in that picture is that in the St. Louis Cardinal dugout, right in the runway going back to the clubhouse, they have a big heater in there. So that was the waves of heat that you saw in front of that card.
2-1.
I asked Ted Simmons, Dick, how many pitches does Vuckovich throw? He said, I really can't tell you. 12? He throws so many different pitches at different speeds from different angles.
There's a change. It fooled Oberkfell, and Molitor has it. One out. Brings up first baseman Keith Hernandez.
I think if there's one word that describes both these pitchers, they challenge him. They will not give in. Andujar did it before. Vuckovich has done it twice already. He challenges him.
Vuckovich, he won't win the Bo Brummel Award, will he? Hernandez looking for his first series hit, and one of the better hitters in the game.
I guess you'll get the age-old argument with a guy like Vuckovich and Simmons catching who know these Cardinal hitters. Who's got the advantage? The pitcher because he knows the hitter better, or the hitter because he knows the pitcher? It's something to kind of think about as the series goes along. So far, it seems like the pitchers.
Long run for Oglivie, and it's a foul ball. Oglivie, of course, ran into the wall, right into that left field corner at the foul pole in the playoff series, and badly bruised his ribs.
Redlin with 2 out. Also capable of the long ball, obviously, and he slices that one foul. Ogilvie is going to the corner. Can't hold on. The ball drops in the corner. Carew comes to the plate to score. And let's see whether or not Ogilvie might have hurt himself as Redlin stands at second.
He did, Keith. And he got pummeled in the celebration after they beat California in Game 5 when I guess 15, 20,000 people went on the field, knocked down, re-injured them. It's on his glove hand side, and when he has to reach for a ball, it bothers his ribcage muscle.
1-2. Hit down the left field line again. Oglivie another chance. Not nearly as spectacular or as dramatic as Sandy Ambrose a couple of decades ago in Yankee Stadium, but nevertheless a good play.
And you can see when he pulls up short of the fence, he'll come out and display a little bit of pain. Nice run. I can almost see the catch he made in Baltimore, sliding in the left field corner and just staring that ball before it almost hit the chalk line. He is a much improved player. When he was with Detroit, he was maligned. Look at him grabbing his right side with his left hand. It's hurting his swing also.
Here's George Hendrick. He has the only St. Louis Cardinal hit. That was that somewhat controversial high hopper to third when first base umpire Dave Phillips thought the third base umpire Evans had called it foul. He had not. And the replays showed that Hendrick was safe, that the throw in time, but had pulled first baseman Cooper off the bag. 2-1. Three balls and a strike. Vuckovich has not walked a man. A spinner outside, and Hendrick is on for the second time in the game. 2 out. Darrell Porter, the Cardinal catcher, steps up. He was an original #1 draft pick of these Milwaukee Brewers out of Oklahoma City. Much like those Oklahoma high school stars that preceded him, Bobby Mercer, Mickey Mantle. They were great football or baseball, would have been great stars no matter.
That guy that played is at the battle back, going through the rehabilitation program. Wish our best to Tim Raines, who's going through the same thing right now. Young men who get caught in a trap, lose your time making a lot of money.
You have to be smart enough and courageous enough to admit the mistake and try to do something about it, and Porter has, and has come back with strength in many ways, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally.
I was talking about it before the game when I asked him about the pressure of the World Series. He put it very simply, there's no pressure here. He said, what I went through before, that was my life.
Goes.
The Cardinals stole 3 bases on Simmons in Game 2, but he guns down Hendrick to close out the 4th inning. Oglivie comes in. He made a fine running catch in foul territory, reminiscent of another great moment in World Series history.
And up comes Yogi Berra.
In the bottom of the sixth, Yogi Berra sliced one to left with 2 on. Sandy Amoros makes the catch of the series and saves the day. Amoros rifles it back in to double Gil McDougald off first.
Well, we apologize. We lost Mel Allen's call of that great moment in 1955. Amoros had just been put in the ball game, made that long run against Yogi Berra, and they were playing Berra into left center. And then Amoros turned it into a double play to Pee Wee Reese and on to Gil Hodges to double up Gil McDougald. Cecil Cooper, Ted Simmons, and Ben Ogilvie will face Joaquin Andujar in the Milwaukee 4th inning. Still no score. Andujar battling out of a second and third and 1-out situation in the last inning. Cooper grounded out, only at bat. Fastball for a strike. 2-1 pitch. Aimed right at the center fielder, and McGee almost misread it. That ball taking off to center and left center. A golf shot by Cooper for an out.
Dick, I think it's interesting the way the defense has changed with different pitchers. Cooper, they had shaded slightly toward right field against most of the pitchers in St. Louis, but with Andujar's great fastball, McGee was playing him a little bit toward left center field. In fact, Lonnie Smith was more down toward the line.
I also think they've got a little greater respect for the speed of this Milwaukee club. If they realize they're not just guys who go up and just hammer.
Simmons, who has 2 home runs in this series, sends it high to right and playable. Hendrick squeezes the second out.
Probably got it up a little bit on the trademark. Even at that, the wind got it just a little bit and drifted it toward right.
The wind won't help anything to right field, but to center and sometimes to left, you'll get a little help. It's flag draped around the staff at the moment, but not blowing nearly as briskly as it was during batting practice when it was starched out toward left field. Ogilvie lined to the right fielder, his first time up. Tomorrow in Game 4, it'll be right-hander Moose Haas for Milwaukee, and Dave LaPointe, 9-3, goes for the Cardinals. 1 o'clock Eastern Time. On cue, right off his foot.
Dick, I would think that Ogilvie, we showed him going to that corner left field with a right rib cage injury. A hard thrower, all that was a breaking ball. A hard thrower, you want to get that right arm ahead. You want to open up those hips and that body to get out in front. May be difficult. He's not the only one playing hurt. Ozzie Smith is playing hurt with a bad injury. Tommy Hurt for the Cardinals may need knee surgery after the season. Gorman Thomas still playing with a gimpy knee.
Much like football and basketball athletes at the tail end of the year, this is where you just have to bite your lip, forget about the injuries. You fought all season long to be here. You're not going to sit down.
And there's one guy hovering that has not played.
Yes.
Raleigh Fingers.
Think we'll see him. Will we see Roland Fingers?
Well, I think Tom Seaver had an interesting theory. It may be camouflage just by Keene and the organization just to let Cardinals know that Fingers is on the bench. It may change some strategy, and Tom made a very good point yesterday in our meeting.
I got the feeling from Whitey Herzog, though, that he doesn't think that Fingers will pitch because there have been enough opportunities in the last week or so for him to come in, and he hasn't been used. 2-2. And this is 3-2, so Ogilvie down on the count 0-2, sees 3 out of the strike zone from Andujar. Did he go around? Yes, says third base umpire Jim Evans. Ogilvie halfway to first base, stands and stares in disbelief. Third strikeout for Andujar. That's it for Milwaukee in the 4th.
Andujar not particularly sharp, but once again 3-2. He looked like he went breaking pitch.
In the 5th inning of the scoreless tie, it'll be Porter, Smith, and Orge. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. County Stadium in Milwaukee. The Brewers' first trip to the series, and Milwaukee is mighty proud and happy about it all, and they all reflect back. It seems like yesterday when you talked to the fan on the street, 57 and 58, it was Burdett and Spahn and Aaron and Adcock and Matthews and Logan and Pafko and Bruton and all the rest. And Tony Kubek, a Milwaukee youngster, had come back home as a New York Yankee And his first game here was game 3 of the series. The first 2 were New York. And all my partner did was to hit a couple of home runs. And another base hit, went 3 for 5 as the Yankee left fielder that day.
A few other positions after that.
Yeah, they moved
Casey. Disappointment after all because we lost it in 7.
And in the following year, 58, same 2 teams in the series, and it was the Yankees then who won in 7. Darrell Porter tapped back to the mound. His only trip against Vuckovich, who's been tough, just 1 infield hit. Change foul. It really is a thing of beauty to watch a man like Vuckovich pitch a game because he changes off almost everything. He'll never give you the same speed. Another off speed fouled away. That appeared to be off the slider.
And the thing about it, Dick, it's the same shoulder, head, arm speed action with every pitch, and he disguises it so well. And you start looking for the off-speed stuff, and all of a sudden, pop, same motion, bust inside. He hasn't done much of it yet. First hitter in the 2nd inning.
He's also telling you on the mound, I got a lot of pitches, guys. I'm in control of this game. He's sending messages.
0-2 and down and inside. Fans wanted a strike call from Kibler. 1-2. Got him on the corner, and Porter didn't like the call.
Vuckovich had been pulling the string, threw 1 pitch outside. Porter stands up on the plate quite a bit. He busts him inside. Show you a reaction shot from Porter, what he thought. One of those fastballs that came back. John Kibler, the home plate umpire.
That says it all. I'll see you next time. Lonnie Smith grounded to short, his only trip. Only 2 base runners allowed by Vuckovich. The infield hit by Hendrick leading off the 2nd, the walk to Hendrick in the 4th, and he was thrown out trying to steal.
There's a guy I think at the plate is very important to these Cardinals. He was the igniter throughout the season for this ball club, getting on base, stealing, forced the defense to make mistakes.
He gets 307, and he drives this one into the gap in left center. Ogilvy can't cut it off, and Smith falls down, rounding first base, and will settle for a double. They call him Skates because he has trouble making the quick moves, and he'd stumble over the first base bag. I doubt if he could have legged it into a triple, but with his speed, he might have.
Ogilvy struggled going after the ball. We'll isolate on Lonnie Smith. He may have been thinking triple. Watch what happens right here. He slips as he goes from the grass to the dirt portion. Possibility that he might have gotten a triple, but we won't know. It's interesting. On dirt and grass, they may be using different kinds of shoes. They use the rubber cleats on the turf. It looked like he had the metal cleats. I don't know if that had anything to do with him falling.
So Smith, a stumbling double with 1 out here in the 5th inning. Dane Orge grounded to the pitcher, his only at bat. A man from Arcata, California. Beautiful north of California, went on to BYU. Brother Garth for Toronto.
Show you once again how this inning might have changed a little bit to this point. Al Lanier egging him on, saying, you got a chance for triple, pick up the ball in left center field. It's by. He stumbled when he tried to cut the corner.
Grounded to Cooper, can't find the handle. Smith will hold at third. It was a tough chance for Cecil. We'll see how they score. Error is the call. So runners at first and third, 1 out.
Cooper goes a long way to his right on an off-speed pitch. The ball hits about in the center of his glove. This gets away, and he can't grab it.
He thought he was going to get it after he booted the ball right in there, but unfortunately he had turned, and now he loses the play completely. And that's not like him because he's a good fielder.
Won a Gold Glove. Hernandez has won a bunch in the National League. He had an error, Keith Hernandez, in that first ball game that led to 2 runs.
That's right. Hernandez has won 4, and Cooper 2 Golden Gloves for their fielding excellence. Now the infield for the Brewers, tight at the corners, back up the middle, looking for the double play. McGee, who can run, he's tough to double up. 1 out. Hit high and deep to right field, and Moore going back. McGee will touch them all.
A 3-run home run for rookie Willie McGee, and the Cardinals jump in front 3-0.
Might recall in the league championship series, after Willie McGee was knocked down, he hit a home run.
His first World Series hit is a 3-run home run.
Vuckovich ready, delivers, and McGee hits a high fly ball into deep right field. Back goes Charlie Moore, away back. It's gone. Home run, Willie McGee. 3-0 in favor of the Cardinals.
Here's Ozzie Smith. He figured the long way had already been tried. He'd go the short way to get on.
Heel goes down to the third base umpire Evans. It's called a strike.
Come on, Ozzie. Come on out.
Happy Cardinal nest. They've moved in front 3-0 here with a home run by McGee in the 5th inning. Smith flashes it foul. In the inning, after Porter had struck out, Lonnie Smith, and you called it, Tony, that he's the igniter. He got the inning going with his catalyst double. Then Ord safe on the air, and McGee driving it into the bleachers in right field for the 3-run homer.
To the position of Ozzie Smith's hands right there. That's the change that Herzog made him a better hitter. He hit this year, Dick, about 20-25 points, higher than his lifetime average. Of course, artificial surface is part of it, but they feel bringing his hands up higher, he's swinging down, getting more line drives and more ground balls instead of pop-ups.
2-2. Gets to straightaway center. Gorman Thomas. 2 away.
In fact, Herzog had a bet with that guy right there. In spring training, he said, for every pop-up and strikeout, you give me $1. For every line drive and ground ball, I give you $1. Herzog lost $236 this year, happily. You bet.
There's the 50-year-old skipper of the St. Louis Cardinals. His first World Series, never in one as a player, nor as a manager, just missed at Kansas City. Jim Fry had that honor. Gantner takes care of Her's ground ball, and the inning is over, but the damage is done. Willie McGee with a 3-run home run, 2 hits, an error, and no one left. We're at the halfway mark in this 3rd game of the World Series. 4.5 innings in the book, and St. Louis leads by 3. 3-0 St. Louis. A reminder, folks, that Sports World returns tomorrow, an exciting lineup, including live championship boxing. Frank the Animal Fletcher against James Hard Rock Green. The middleweight showdown, 12 rounds for the USBA championship. And then off to Tokyo, sumo wrestling, 300-pounders and the traditional Japanese sport. Catch all the action tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC Sports World. And, of course, we'll be aboard at 1 o'clock Eastern Time for Game 4 of this 1982 World Series.
The thing about Andujar at this point, Dick, I don't think he's been particularly sharp with his control. And he just keeps wiping out hitters. Gets behind some, he's gone 3-2 a few times, and he makes the pitch that he has to. Pitched out of that 3rd inning with runners on the 2nd and 3rd and 1 out.
Gorman Thomas struck out swinging his first time up. High in the air. Waiting and waiting is Her. 1 away. Better move that blimp a little higher over County Stadium when Thomas is hitting.
Stan the Man Musial. Memories in this ballpark. I'm sure he thinks of the great battles with Warren Spahn. What a classic confrontation that was. He only slugged .702 in 1948.
Roy Howell, Hall of Famer Musial, still looking as if he could duck himself into any batting order. Great shake. Went around, and it's 1-1. Howell 0 for 7 thus far in the series. Better hitter away from County Stadium this season. Left side to Oberkfell. Across to Hernandez. 2 away, and Joaquin Andujar, the only hit he's allowed, that double by Gampner in the 3rd inning. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
This is Channel 4, KNBC, Los Angeles.
Charlie Moore. A 3-run homer by Willie McGee of the St. Louis Cardinals, giving them the 3-0 lead, and Ozzie Smith takes care of Charlie Moore, and for the 4th time in 5 innings, Joaquin Andujar retires the side in order. 5 innings complete at County Stadium. The Cardinals lead the Milwaukee Brewers on McGee's home run, 3-0. Out in the County Stadium bullpen area, that's a scrapbook picture. Rolling fingers. Now at Milwaukee, Gene Tennis, the Cardinal catcher. Of course, they were teammates. 72, 73, 74 World Series, and Tennis was the most valuable player in the 72 series when he hit 4 home runs. Fingers was the most valuable player in 74. Of course, was the league's most valuable player and the Cy Young Award winner last year, but doubtful in this series because of that elbow injury. Obrick fell. 1 ball, 1 strike. He'll be followed by Hernandez and Hendrick.
About that figure, higher on grass and dirt than the turf for Oberkfell.
Pops it behind short. Robin Yount. 1 out in the 6th inning. The Cardinals leading 3-0. Bring up Keith Hernandez. He's grounded out and fouled out.
5 consecutive Western Division championships for Charlie Finley's Oakland A's, and 3 consecutive World Championships thrown in there.
Bando.
Jackson, Bando,
Campy.
North,
Green.
Catfish, Odom,
Vida
Blue.
What a team Charlie Finley put together. Keith Hernandez. 0 for 9. This is an intense young man who loves to hit, and he is more than hungry for that first base hit. He won't get it on that ball as Gampner throws him out. 0 for 10 for Hernandez. Gampner from Little Eden, Wisconsin. Population of 375. He says, we lock up the gates every night at 6. No one gets in.
Went to school, University of Wisconsin, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, about 90 miles north. Coach Russ Tiedemann, one of the real fine fundamentalists among college baseball coaches.
Hendrick, an infield hit and a walk. Yeah, it's been a quiet Milwaukee crowd since the 3-run homer by McGee, not unlike what happened in St. Louis when the Brewers opened up 6-0 lead in the late innings. 2 strikes now to Hendrick. 1 mistake by Vuckovich, and it's a 3-0 ball game. 2-2 now. Vuckovich, who really does go out of his way not to look exactly neat on the mound. He feels that's part of his working image. Tough play for Yount. Gets him. Solid throw. 1, 2, 3 go the Cardinals in the 6th inning. For Milwaukee, trailing 3-0 in the last half of the 6th inning. It'll be Jim Gentner, then the top of the order, Paul Molitor and Robin Yount, with the Birds in front, 3-0.
I've been hearing the so-called sports expert talk about his realistic home video baseball game. Well, I've played real baseball. And I also played the new Atari Real Sports Baseball, and I like it. Because I can sacrifice fly, as well as steal, pick off runners. Hey, it's baseball like baseball should be played. And who are you going to listen to anyhow? That other guy who just talks baseball? Or a nice guy like me who lives it?
New Real Sports Baseball, one in a series only from Atari.
Back at County Stadium, 3-0 St. Louis. Cy Young Award winner 3 times, Tom Seaver, who's been charting pitches, making his comments on the series. He's been focusing upon Joaquin Andujar. What do you see?
Dick, have been looking at Joaquin. Of course, Carl charting his pitches up here. One thing that's going on that I've noticed, now 73% of the pitches that Joaquin has thrown tonight have been fastballs. And there's only been 3 times that the first pitch has not been a fastball. This Brewer lineup is totally, as I look at them and have watched them now in my third game, they are totally fastball hitters. And after Gantner goes up here, they're going to start getting their third look at Joaquin Andujar. The question is, he's got a 3-run lead. Can he throw hard enough, long enough to be able to hold a lead against what is primarily a fastball hitting ball club?
All right. The analysis of Tom Seaver. Here's Jim Gantner. He owns the only Milwaukee hit, a double to right field, and he has another hit. He will hold a long single by Jim Gantner, and that brings the crowd back into the game, and this is the largest crowd in County Stadium history, 56,556.
Well, we saw the job that Koch did in game number 2 in St. Louis. Fair was outstanding, shutting him down, and Suter has had a day's rest. It was yesterday.
Paul Molitor. On this day in World Series history, in 1964, Bobby Richardson of the Yankees collected his 13th hit of that series against the Cardinals to set a series record. Lou Brock tied it later in 1968. That's one of the marks that Molitor has his eye on, with 7 hits already. And the Brewer fans want him to deliver now. Beautiful bunt, but it's foul. Appeared if he could have caught the grass, he had a chance at a hit. Gantner back to first base.
You know, in football, basketball, that #1 draft pick is very important, and even in baseball, it's proving more and more to be true. 5 of the 9 men in the batting order for Milwaukee were picked in the first round. Molitor and Yount by the Brewers. Simmons, the #1 pick of the Cardinals in 67. Seattle Pilots chose Thomas in 69. And Royal Howell by the Rangers in 72.
And that year, 77, Molitor was picked. There were some good ones. In fact, there was some discussion, should they pick Baines or Molitor, and because Beck chose Baines and they got Molitor, and they both won out.
0-1 pitch is in there, a fastball. 2 strikes as Andujar. Working from the stretch for one of the rare times in this game. In the first, second, and fourth and fifth innings, wind up no one on base. 1, 2, 3 innings. Ooh. 1 and 2.
Bob Kittle has meant so much to the mechanics of Andujar. When he was at Houston, he would throw from the top, 3/4, sidearm, and sometimes down under. And Kittle said, you throw over the top, there's Hub, over the top or sidearm, and forget the rest. And he's gotten his control since then.
Fly ball to center field. McGee can't, and has the first out of the inning. Molitor 0 for 3. Robin Yount will be the batter. Another thing Kittle talked about with Andujar, he said one of the problems with most of the young pitchers in the Dominican at that time was they all wanted to be like Juan Marichal. He was such a national hero, and they all used that big high kick delivery, and some just couldn't do it well, and Andujar was one of them. They tried to get him to forget about the kick, just get a natural motion to the plate that you're comfortable with. Yount 0 for 2 tonight, and that could be 2. Smith, Hernandez, double play.
Isn't Ozzie beautiful? You see him hurdle that runner coming in.
No runs, a hit, and no one left as Robin Yount wraps into a double play. We've completed 6 in Milwaukee. St. Louis 3, Brewers nothing. Right back after these messages from your local station.
Ozzie Smith in set, not seeing what you're seeing. He doesn't have a replay monitor. Gantner coming hard. Smith does what the good shortstops do. He uses the bag for his protection, and he went right at the runner and made him get down, and then just like a ballet dancer right over the top.
And sometimes if they don't like the runner, they seem to drag that foot across, and then it's a quick trip to the dentist.
That's one of the best weapons with 2. Low bridge the guy, the other is those cleats.
That's right.
Top of the 7th inning, the Cardinals 3, Milwaukee nothing.
Dick, an interesting stat as far as the pitches. Vuckovich in the 5th and 6th inning made 28 pitches. Andujar only 13.
Andujar has been awesome, with the exception of Gantner, has not allowed a base hit. Gantner, the only 2 Milwaukee base hits. Porter is tapped to the mound and struck out. Yount. One away.
Looked like he pulled the string on that 2-0 pitch. He looked like the good fastball, just a little bit off. He is what one of the pitching coaches of the Brewers, Cal McClish, calls a back and forth pitcher. He said he's back and forth means he changes speed. He's also in and out. Location outside and inside.
Hit to right center, and no one's there. And look at Smith go this time. He's looking for a triple. He's got it. The ball goes in the dugout, and Smith will score. It's 4-0.
Well, Lonnie didn't do it in games 1 and 2, but he is so far tonight getting a chance to see the speed of this Cardinal ball club. You see McGee in center field go back deep for a ball off Cooper. You see Lonnie Smith the way he can run. So they show they can run fast in the dirt and grass. They can on the turf. If he gets going, it causes a lot of trouble. Lonnie this time cutting the bag. And with his right foot, he never used a coach. He's watching the ball all the way. Now he picks up his coach as he hits the second base bag.
Foul ball as Porter just misses the bag at first, breaks the bat, and will go back for a new one.
Show you what happens on the relay throw. Chuck Hiller saying get down. Molitor might have been blocked out, and when the ball skidded, may have hit something and went in the dugout. An error is charged. There it is. Skins off what? His hip, part of his body.
And awarded home on the ball going into the dugout. So 1 out, and St. Louis leads 4-0.
Air charge of the relay throw man. Gatner, the second baseman.
Forge. Center fielder Gorman Thomas calling.
2 out.
And Willie McGee up.
Sometimes with unfair errors. Right there, looked like it was going to be a pretty good throw. The side of the sliding Lonnie Smith.
4 runs on 4 hits. The Cardinals have made them count tonight. A double, an error, and a 3-run homer by this man, McGee. And now Smith, a triple, and scoring on the air by Gantner.
Mahler up tight at third in case McGee should try and drop a bunt down. Look out.
Oh, that's 2 for McGee. Another homer.
What a day that kid's having. Hit a fastball for the first home run. Looked like something off-speed pitch. He may have thrown a change-up slider.
I thought I noticed after the first pitch way inside, he backed him off the plate. He didn't get quite up to the plate that time. Got the ball inside, and he just let it happen. Listen to him.
Let's see the location. A little bit up in the strike zone, but he still hit it very hard.
Ozzie Smith back to live action, pops it up, and Yount takes care of it. The inning is over. But the St. Louis Cardinals, a triple and a home run, score 2 more runs. Willie McGee, 4 home runs all season and 2 home runs tonight. And we go to the stretch half of the 7th inning with a score in Milwaukee. St. Louis 5, the Brewers nothing.
Lonnie Smith is the batter. Lonnie grounded a short and then hit one up the alley in the 5th inning. Might have been a triple, but he fell down and had to settle for a double. Vuckovich into the windup. Pete Reddy delivers, and there's a slicing drive into right center. That's going to be trouble, and nobody there. It goes to the wall, and this time Lonnie's flying. He's around second, on his way to third. The relay is in there, gets by third into the Cardinal dugout, and Lonnie Smith scores. McGee hits another drive to right field, and that might go. It's gone. Home run McGee. His second of the game. And it is 5-0 St. Louis. And they're in shock here at County Stadium.
They're in shock, but old Willie makes it look like there's nothing to it.
5-0.
Excuse me, Dick. I was going to say, here's the first pitch to McGee. Get a point of reference. Watch when he pushes him back. He's got him back. Look about where he is, even with Kibler's right foot. Now watch when he comes back in the batter's box. He's a little farther back. You'll be able to see Kibler all the way.
Yes, he is.
He is farther back, almost like he was looking for it. And he really nails it.
Interesting thing about part about McGee is, about 8 years ago, he broke his right arm above the elbow. He got a shot in it. It didn't heal properly. The bone didn't develop. He's got like cartilage or something in there. Dr. London, the team physician, looked at it, decided to do nothing. It hurts him a lot of the time throwing and hitting. In the 5th inning, with a couple men out, Willie McGee. He's got an awkward-looking stance from the left side. Stand straight up, and look at the knee cock. His timing device is the hands go back. Head down and watch the right arm. Get that bat out in front. That was the first home run on a fastball up in the strike zone. Second home run came on a breaking ball inside, lower part of the strike zone.
Last of the 7th, 5-0, and here's Joe Garagiola.
And Cooper hits the first pitch, but he hits it foul. 5-0. The Cardinals are out in front of Milwaukee. We're at the bottom of the 7th inning, and there you see it. 2 hits for Milwaukee. Gantner has both of them, a double in the 3rd, a single in the 6th. Cardinals scored 3 in the 5th, 3-run homer by McGee. They scored 2 in the 7th. Triple, an error, and a home run by McGee. Out of play. 2 quick strikes. Joaquin Andujar.
Joe, that second home run by McGee tied an interesting record. Home runs in one game by a rookie. Charlie Keller, 39. Tony Kubek, 57. The only other rookie to hit 2 home runs in a series game.
Tony hit him right here. I remember that game. 2-strike pitch. High fly ball. McGee has room. 1 out.
So I don't know if Willie McGee can continue to develop that kind of power. But what you're looking at in McGee, a guy who can run with his speed, the possibility of 75, 80 bases if he stays healthy. He has a good throwing arm. He's going to be a good average hitter, it looks like, with his speed. He's going to be a 300 hitter. And with that kind of power, that's a lot of versatility. That's a lot of things built in that one man.
When he learns to steal bases and become a base runner, he's really going to be something. He's doing it on raw speed right now. Here is Simmons, who is 0 for 2. Low ball 1. McGee becomes the 28th man to hit 2 home runs in the World Series game. Last man to do it was Willie Aikens for the Kansas City Royals.
Well hit, way back. This is maybe out of here. It is. Well hit, deep to right field. Another one. He's not even left home plate. He was watching it, much like Reggie Jackson.
5-0 to score, bottom of the 7th. Simmons doesn't get it. 1 ball and 1 strike.
He has not lost anything on his fastball. We're in the 7th. He that ball very hard.
Didn't mean to swing, and it goes foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Andujar, when you talk about shutouts in 1982, Steve Carlton led the National League with the most shutouts, 6. Andujar and Joe Niekro were tied at 5 apiece. A tough competitor, Hub Kittle, who, well, Andujar calls him Papa. You saw in the pregame show. He has really done the job, and he becomes a tough pitcher. Right off his knee again. He can't move. He's hurt. Andujar is hurt. He is down. Here comes Gene Gieselman. He was hit a line drive, but he's hurt this time on the kneecap. He is in real pain.
Doc on it.
Andujar hit by a smash off the bat of Ted Simmons. Bob Bowman coming out along with Gene Gieselman.
Pitching such a brilliant ball game, and he got cracked solidly. Dr. London now apparently has jumped out of the stands, one of the top men in this field, out to look at it. He continued after he got hit in the League Championship Series game against Atlanta.
That was off the shin. This one appeared to get him right in the kneecap, Tony.
What a blow, as hard as this hits him off the kneecap or just below it. Teddy Simmons. Andujar. There's the ball tailing away from Simmons. It is hit so hard, he just can't recover. He was in a pretty good fielding position right there, too, Joe, but the ball just hit so hard. Simmons going up the middle. You see Joaquin go down.
And his follow through, his leg had turned enough so that inside of the knee was exposed.
That's one of those deals where you almost wish a guy had a poor follow through and follow through crossing over and the ball would have missed him. He is in this tremendous pain, as you see by this replay. And it is a doggone shame because, well, as the series goes along, we'll see how he progresses.
They're going
that
to bring
doesn't
in,
look like a very, very good spot.
Now they're going to bring in a pitcher, and of course he'll be allowed as much time as he needs to warm up.
So the man now for St. Louis in the bullpen is Doug Bear. He pitched so brilliantly in game number 2. Hot also up, the left-hander.
Listen to this Milwaukee crowd in just tremendous tribute to Andujar as they walk off, even though their ball club trailing by 5 runs.
Not only sad that scene because he's lost tonight, but when you judge that picture, will he be able to come back at all?
Doug Bear will come in, and Cott is coming in. Doug Bear was loosening up. Jim Cott there. So it'll be Jim Cott, 5-0, and Cott will take all the time he needs with the injury. We'll be right back after these messages.
Five runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 4 of the 5 hits have been extra bases. 2 home runs by McGee, a double and a triple by Lonnie Smith. The 1-2 pitch. Simmons hits one back off Andujar's leg, and he's riding on the grass in pain. And Ted Simmons is at first, and Andujar, I would have to say, has had it. What a rotten break. Andujar is hit, I believe, on the right leg, and he is riding in pain on the grass just to the right of the mound.
With Simmons, the one hopper, and now it's Jim Cott with 1 out. A base runner on at first.
Jim Cott will come into the 3rd ball game in this World Series. Not allowed to run, although in game number 2, Cecil Cooper hit a flare that drove home somebody else's run.
He had an interesting comment. Someone asked him about Cott, about being in this World Series. He said, listen, I'm not like the rest of these. I've been in one of these. I was 65. And everyone had to kind of look 60. How many years ago was that? The Minnesota Twins. But he's just as spry at 43, the oldest ever pitch as a National Leaguer in a World Series.
Dick, you might recall when you, Joe, and I were speaking up here when we showed Raleigh Fingers and tennis in the bullpen of those great Oakland ball clubs. There's a man that we overlooked a couple. Holtzman was one. But also Darrell Knowles, who one time pitched in all 7 World Series games. And here's Cott pitching 3 of 4 already at 43 years of age.
Well, he has the pitching record of most years of service in the major leagues, 24. He's the only active major leaguer playing in his 4th decade. But right now, he's got Ogilvy with Simmons on at first, 1 man out. Cardinals leading 5-0 in the bottom of the 7th. It's a strike. Now Hernandez at first base playing behind the runner, Simmons.
Let's see if the strategy of Herzog, the shooter down there in the Bear, will let him pitch. 3 of the 5 scheduled hitters are left-handed. Of course, Keene might get money up for Howell with the 8 spot.
It's that sidearm curveball. I saw him in the lobby. I said, where'd you come up with that roundhouse American Legion curve? And he said, that's exactly where I got it, and that's what it is. Good competitor. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Since he dropped down to the side in spring training this year, he is throwing the ball harder than he did, well, almost when he was a rookie. In fact, when he was a rookie with the old Washington Senators, he did not throw quite sidearm, a little bit higher, but he threw just this way.
1 man out. Way outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes they count. Ogilvy line to right in the second inning, was out on strikes in the fourth inning. He got him on strikes. Ogilvy called out on strikes. Cott gets out number 2.
Well, we saw Andujar as some right-handed hitters come down from the side and make a few of them buckle their knees. We'll show you Jim Cott from the stretch. Come from down sidewinder. He gets Ogilvy to buckle a little bit. He steps a little bit crossfire toward first base.
You notice that follow through, and after winning, 15, 16 Golden Gloves, he was right in position for a comebacker.
So here is Gorman Thomas. He popped up his last time up, struck out in the second. He was really disgusted. He just threw his bat so far it hit the back of the screen here. There's the strike. Hernandez, they got the shift on. There are 3 infielders to the second base side. There you see him.
With Hernandez playing behind the runner Simmons with his lead, he gets off much farther to try and protect that second base, so he's almost at second base.
1 ball and 1 strike. Thomas is hurting a bit, so Hernandez is getting way over there, knowing that Thomas really can't get down that line with good speed. 1-1 to count, 2 outs. Look at him breaking off. Line drive, left field, it's a base hit. Simmons stops at second.
Well, what we might see is some more strategy take place with Howell scheduled a left-hander. Whitey Herzog will probably wait until Don Money is announced, a right-handed hitter, and when the announcement is made, we've got a chance to see Bear. And goes Hersey. He's going to wait for the announcement. They've announced Money, so Herzog will make the move and probably go to the right-hander.
So there are 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th inning. There you see them, Suter and Doug Bear. And there's been no indication somebody's coming in. I would think it'd be Suter the way he's throwing it, but Bear said, no, it's me. It's 5-0, and we've got a pitching change. Jim Cott trots off. So we have a break in the action here. And we're waiting for the news from the clubhouse. As soon as we get it, Bob Costas is there. We'll report it to you. Andujar hit by that smash. So we will be back right after these messages.
Baseball fever. Catch it. It lasts forever.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Here's the report from the Cardinal clubhouse as we have it right now, and it's really not very conclusive. Joaquin Andujar was hit just beneath the right knee. Painful. Whether or not anything's broken, we don't know. It appears they're getting set to take x-rays. We haven't been able to talk with Dr. Stan Lund and the Cardinal team physician yet, but as soon as he comes out of the Cardinal clubhouse, we hope to have him on for a few words to describe exactly what happened to the Cardinal starter who was pitching a brilliant game until the ball hit him. We'll go back upstairs now to Joe and Tony and Dick.
Okay, Bob Costas. Well, it sounds like the preliminary report is good news. And as soon as we get a more detailed report, we certainly will bring it to you. Doug Bear is a new pitcher.
Bear, who came out in game number 2. The Brewers have been threatening. He relieved Cott with a man on, 2 outs, and then he retired 6 consecutive Brewers before Suter came on after a double, and he picked him up and finished the Brewers off.
Well, Don Money will be facing Doug Bear. They've just announced at the press box. We'll give you this report. Andujar hit on the bone just below the right knee, as reported by Bob Costas. And team doctor Stan London reports he's in stable condition, taking to Mount Sinai for x-rays to determine whether or not it is fractured. High, and it's ball 1. This crowd really coming alive now, and Porter wants to have a word with his pitcher. Money had 16 home runs in 1982. .352 average with runners in scoring position. Up there with 2 outs, a pinch hitter. Or Roy Howell. High. Ball 2. Two balls and a strike on Don Money. Outside, 3-1.
He doesn't look comfortable working on that mound, does he? He's staggering as he delivers.
I just wonder if it was that switch of signs. I used to always hate to do that. You should have it set in your mind because you want your pitcher to concentrate on the batter, not whether he has to add, subtract, second sign, last sign, and all that other stuff.
3-1. This man Money is a good fastball hitter. He can turn anybody's fastball around.
He fouls it back. Well, he's very simple. I always felt as a catcher, when you bring a relief pitcher, you don't want him to go to thinking, you want him to go to throwing.
Coming off a strange bullpen mound he's ever seen onto a strange county stadium mound.
So it's 3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Base runners will be off. Listen to this crowd. They want some action. And here comes Whitey Herzog. The bases are loaded, and he's going for his eraser, Bruce Sutter. Whitey says good ball players will make a good manager. A good bullpen will make you a great manager, and that's what Sutter can do, and here he comes.
Like he said, when I was in Kansas City, we had the great teams. We got in the league championship series, kept getting beat by the Yankees. The reason was I didn't have a Sutter, or I didn't have a Quisenberry that either.
So Bruce Sutter will come in. Bases are loaded, 5-0 to score, 2 outs. We'll be right back. Bruce Sutter, the all-time National League save leader, 194. And he inherits a bases-loaded 2-out situation.
In game number 2, he faced 8 hitters. 2 scratch infield hits, 1 by Moore. Up at the plate now, and 1 by Molitor.
This crowd of 56,566 haven't had much to cheer about. And he just talked to the second base umpire about going to his mouth, and they'll tell you what's happening. Listen to him and watch him. Near the stands, might be playable. He makes the catch. What a play he made right in front of the dugout on the very first pitch. Moore fouls out. Look at Hub Kittle. That really says it all. Overfell.
That wind started drifting the ball back into the field of play, and some of the players went over to help, and you might see a little bit of ball right here. He makes an excellent play.
The bench really reacted to that, so at the end of 7 full innings, the score, St. Louis 5, Milwaukee nothing.
The Yankees' Willie Randolph, he does it all. Pro photographer Fred Conrad, he catches it all with his Canon AE1 program. More advanced to capture Willie's sheer grace at second base. The AE1 program. More camera to follow Willie all the way home.
Hey, can I try your Canon?
Sure, it's simple. In sun or shade, it's a snap to use. The Canon AE1 program, so advanced, it's simple, and more of both.
It's a World Series weekend on NBC Sports. Following the game, be ringside for a USBA title bout. Frank the Animal Fletcher battles James Hard Rock Green, plus sumo wrestling from Japan. All on NBC Sports World. Tomorrow.
Milwaukee's County Stadium. And we've got a 5-0 ball game. Vuckovich will be facing Tommy Herr, Oberkfeld, and Keith Hernandez.
Cardinals really have not hit that many balls hard off Vuckovich, except for Lonnie Smith, who has 2 extra base hits, a double and a triple, and McGee has absolutely crushed 2 balls, a 3-run home run and a 2-run home run. Or a single home run, we'll be out.
There's a strike to Tommy Herr. Herr popped the shortstop in the first, bounced to the second baseman in the third, and in the 5th. Gantner nicely to his right. There's one away.
Gantner got the kind of hop you don't see on artificial surface, which is why he had to hustle to get over in front of it. He would try to run over, glide over, and feel it with one hand. He probably would have missed it. You can do it on the artificial turf, but not here.
Oberkfell, the batter, and here's the catch he made. Not only watch the catch, but catch some of the reaction. Look at Red Schoendienst's mouth open, and everybody applauding him. It was a key play for the Cardinals as it retired the side. The base is loaded. 1-0 pitch. High fly ball, shallow left field. Yount going out. Ogilvy coming in. He makes the play. Benji's really hurting Tony.
You can see when he has to reach for a ball, and I'm sure it's hurting him when he tries to swing the bat.
So there are two away, nobody on, and here is Keith Hernandez. He bounced out to the second baseman in the first, fouled to the left fielder in the fourth, and bounced out again to the second baseman.
I wonder what his father's been telling him. His father's here, was in St. Louis, of course, former professional baseball player. He's Keith's hitting coach.
Hits the ball hard. Nice play by Yount. The throw, they get him. And Hernandez can't buy a base hit as Yount took the hard smash and really made it look easy and gets him at first base.
Well, we've seen a little bit of a clinic so far in these three games. Ozzie Smith with his dives in game one. And Robin Yount, nice play right here.
So it's 5-0 St. Louis as we go into the bottom half of the 8th inning. Jim Gantner leads it off here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Suter with no one on, pitching off the stretch. And he fires the first one, and it's strike one.
Interesting to see as these hitters see Suter for the second time. There's some hitters who will move closer to the pitcher's rubber, try and get, in fact, move up on the plate. Try and get that split-fingered fastball before it breaks. Suter is smart enough that he can adjust and throw it even lower.
Ask the third base umpire. No, so it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Milwaukee Brewers, fewest shutouts in 1982. Only team in the major leagues to only be shut out once, and that was by the Minnesota Twins, trailing 5-0. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nobody on, nobody out. Bottom of the 8th. Shut out only once in 218 games, the Milwaukee Brewers, and Vuckovich was the loser in that one. Left field. Smith coming there. He makes the play.
Shutout of the Brewers by young left-hander from the Twins, O'Connor, relieved by Davis, Ron Davis.
So here's Paul Molitor. He flied to center field in the first. He struck out in the third, flied to center field in the sixth. It isn't fair to say he flied to center field that first time up. It didn't look like he had a home run. He hit that ball hard. But McGee was able to haul it in.
Now you see the pitch from that angle, Joe, and we talked about how he throws it 2 nights ago. From the hitter's point of view, why it's so difficult to hit. Perhaps we could pursue that a bit, Tony. The fact that it looks like a fastball all the way.
You think we could hit if those guys couldn't or can't?
No, I'm not saying you could hit it. I'm just saying an appreciation of what it must be like to be a hitter facing that thing.
And if the future Hall of Famer and Cy Young Award winner Tom Seaver can't explain what it does, that's how great this guy is. The ball breaks so much, nobody else throws anything like it. Probably as devastating a pitch as there is in baseball. A lot of people try and throw it. Talk about the Gossage fastball or Ryan and the Nico knuckleball and that split-fingered fastball, and that pitch is something else.
2 strikes on Molitor. A foul ball.
That was a fastball.
Well, when you have one of those exotic pitches, a knuckleball, a forkball, a split-fingered fastball, it makes every other pitch effective because you're always looking for it. And you get a hitter to thinking he's going to end up with an 0 for 4 and a headache.
Incredible thing about it, as much as it breaks, that he can still throw strikes when he has to. He gets a lot of balls swung at that are not strikes. I mean, those balls start at waist high. By the time you swing them down at the ankle, that's how much it drops. You're talking about 2.5, 3 feet.
It's popped up. And Porter off with the mask. Foul territory, makes the play. There are 2 outs. It brings up Robin Yount. Yount is 0 for 3. Flying to right, bounced to the second baseman, and hit into a double play in the 6th. Ball 1. He moved to third as Orge was safe on an error, and then McGee hit a 3-run homer. And there was a triple by Smith. He came around to score when the throw from Ganton and the relay throw went into the dugout, and then McGee hit another homer. That's been the scoring. 2 balls, no strikes. There's the strike. 2 balls and 1 strike on Robin Yount. Well, when you have a pitcher like that, all you have to do as a catcher is remember what fingers you put down. 3-1.
Interesting challenges come in these situations where you get a Yount who's a low ball hitter with a low ball pitcher.
Let's see how they play it. Outside, Yount is on. They're looking for base runners, and the Brewers have one. And that brings up Cecil Cooper. Cooper bounced out to the second baseman in the 1st, line to center in the 4th, and fly to center in the 7th. Strike 1. Base runners, Robin Yount. C. Hernandez with a 5-run lead playing behind him. Well hit, deep to right field. This could be 2. It is out of here. Listen to the crowd. Strike 1 on Ted Simmons. Cooper, who had 32 home runs in the regular season, has just given the Brewers a 2-run homer. Simmons takes it low, ball 1. And that's got to be a big shot in the arm, not so much for the scoreboard, but they've been able to break through on Superman.
I think that's where the Brewer confidence and looseness comes from. When they had to win that final game, 163rd game actually, against Baltimore, they got the home runs. When they had to come back 2 down to California, they know they can score runs in bunches.
Hernandez takes the high hopper from Ted Simmons, steps on the bag, ends the 8th inning, but the Brewers scored 2. And at the end of 8 full innings, it's St. Louis 5, Milwaukee 2, and there's a swing that gave the Brewers their 2 runs.
All right, maybe I wasn't the greatest player of all time, but fans, they forgive and forget. When I go in here, they'll be buying me my favorite beer, light beer from Miller. You, Bob Euchre? Yeah, these fans, I love them. They know us ex-big leaguers drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Well, can't keep the gang waiting. Fans are always joking.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Wow, they're having a good time in there.
Our NBC crew following Joaquin Andujar. This is Andujar leaving County Stadium. Appears to be in a good mood, still in his baseball jersey, on his way to Mount Sinai Hospital. This tape just taken an inning or so ago. And the reports we get, the early reports from Dr. Stan London, who is accompanying Andujar, are good. He feels that not only is he in a good mental and emotional state, that it does not appear to be a serious injury. Andujar, who was brilliant, 6 1/3 innings, no runs and 3 hits, and stands to be the winner if Suter can get the final 3 outs of the game.
Here's George Hendrick against Vuckovich. And it's ball 1 on Hendrick. 1 ball and 1 strike to count.
So if you project that out, the status of Andujar, the off day in there, go to Game 7 if there should be a Game 7. If he is well, he might be the pitcher.
2 balls and 1 strike on Hendrick. He had a base hit in the second inning, a controversial base hit, and then walked in the fourth, bounced out. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 5-2 to score. St. Louis out in front, looking ahead to the bottom of the ninth. Ogilvie, Thomas, and Money. Left field. Ogilvie waiting. Makes the play. 1 out.
Right after Game 3 of this 1982 World Series, don't forget, later tonight, it's The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson. Then it's SCTV and all the day's news on NBC overnight, all following your local news, except for the West Coast and most Mountain Time stations, where they'll be seen at their regular times. So stay with us right here on NBC, and we'll see you again tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern Time for Game 4.
We've had an interference on the catcher, and George Hendrick was awarded first base because the bat was tipped by the catcher Simmons, so it'll go as an error on Simmons. High, ball 1.
Interesting ruling. Had that ball fallen in for a base hit, you had a choice of taking the hit. As it was caught. What looked like an out. An E2. Now Porter going to get some signs straightened out with a 1-ball, no strike count with Chuck Hiller, the third base coach, who came over with Whitey Herzog with him at Kansas City. See if we can pick up the pitch from Vuckovich on the fly ball to short left field, how the interference takes place. Sure couldn't see it on that.
I couldn't either.
Couldn't see it on that at all.
Usually when a pitcher changes speeds on his own, he forces you to kind of fakes you out as a catcher, and that's how you end up tipping the bat, but you couldn't see anything on the replay. And Vuckovich is that type pitcher where he'll change speeds on his own. Porter squares around, bunts in the air. Cooper's got to play, and he makes it.
Three games are not yet gone in this 82 World Series. We've seen Ozzie Smith with brilliant playing, Robin Yount, McGee, and one more time by Cecil Cooper. He made a good play diving to his right in game number 2. Might have saved some trouble. Good camera shots, guys.
And we should point out, most of the fans know, but when you hear what sounds like a boo in the background, they're just chanting "Coo" for Cecil Cooper.
And here's Lonnie Smith, who's been one of the big heroes for the Cardinals. It is outside, ball 1. It was Lonnie Smith who got it started in the 5th after Porter was called out on strikes with the double. Moved to third on an error. Ball hit by Orange. And then scored on McGee's home run. Hendrick on it first.
Tomorrow afternoon, former Milwaukee Brewer product Dave LaPointe, a left-hander, will go against Moose Haas, who has really pitched a good ball game against the Angels.
Fly ball deep to left field. Going back is Ogilvie. He's got room. He makes the play at the warning track. So Lonnie Smith flies to Ogilvie in left field. And there are 2 outs.
For tonight, Lonnie Smith appears to have his batting eye back. Pretty sharp ground ball in the second. Double score run, triple score run. Ball was just missed to left. The wind may have drifted that a little bit more shallow. Kept it in.
It's got to be encouraging for Whitey Herzog. His outfield starting tonight combined was 0 for 18, and they have all 5 of the Cardinal hits tonight.
There's a strike. I almost have to snicker before I say this. They keep records on everything in the World Series. Do you know that that was the 5th time in World Series history that there was catcher's interference? And they've got a whole list of these. Players involved. High, ball 1. 1925, Roger Peckinpah, Washington. Earl Smith was the catcher who interfered. Bud Matheny in 43, Walker Cooper the catcher. Ken Boyer. In 64, Elston Howard was the catcher. 70, Pete Rose, Elrod Hendrick. And tonight, Simmons and George Hendrick.
Well, I'm really glad to learn that.
I know one thing. When you say 64, the late great Cardinal Ken Boyer, I can still see his grand slam home run. What a memorable moment in World Series history. Winding around the foul pole in Yankee Stadium. Courageous man. You see the black armband on the left sleeves. You see the Dane Orange in this particular case. Great story.
1 ball and 2 strikes with 2 outs. Hendrick at first. Top of the 9th. Cardinals leading 5-2. High and tight. 2-2 the count. Foul back by Orange.
So if this score stands up and with a shooter out there, you don't expect to batter him around. This is a Cardinal team that lost 10-0, then got behind in game number 2, 3-0, came back and won it. And then to go on the road, game 3 of the World Series, it's a psychological lift to beat a ball club in their home ballpark in front of these kind of fans. They haven't beaten them yet, but the shooter out there, it's close.
Pulled on the line. It is a foul ball. Except that these Milwaukee Brewers, Tony, they came within an eyelash of losing to Baltimore. They won it. They lost the first 2 games to California, and they won it.
They seem to take themselves to the wall every time, don't they?
I talked to one fan. He said it's just been an emotional yo-yo all year long, up and down. He said, I've come to games where we get a 10-run lead in the 3rd inning, and by the 6th inning, it's 15-10. We're losing, then we win 16-15. So it's 5-2 now. They're trailing. Fouled off again.
You saw that graphic that Bob Rogers, who was the skipper at the start of the year, and the losing record, his team had fallen into 6th place in early June, 7.5 games out of first when the move was made by Harry Dalton to name Keene the manager.
Down the right field line. This one is a fair ball. It bounces. It is touched by a fan, so Hendrick will stop at 3rd. He's going to come around, but he'll stop at 3rd. They'll run him back because it was handled by a fan, a one-hopper, and George, he's smiling because he was going all out. Watch this. You'll see it.
The ball bounces in clearly. It's a ground rule double. This particular one, man interference. Left up to the judgment of the umpire how far the runners would have gotten.
I think Whiting's going to argue the point that
you bet. He
outs.
is saying with Hendrick running, he was going to score. That is judgment. Why are you setting him back?
I bet he loses the argument.
I wouldn't doubt it, but it's a judgment call. And anytime you go out and make an argument with umpire, he said, well, in my judgment, I said, okay, I understand now.
So here's Willie McGee now with the first base open. So let's see how they play it. They're going to put him on, I would imagine, and then go to Ozzie Smith.
Oh, that's kind of a shame. It'd be nice to see him swing the bat again. Kind of night he's had.
I tell you, he's been very impressive in postseason play. He has 20 total bases and 20 at-bats, a slugging percentage of 1,000, 3 home runs, 2 singles, 2 triples. So here is Ozzie Smith. Bases are loaded. There are 2 outs. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th, it's Ogilvie, Thomas, and Money for Milwaukee. They're trailing by 3.
Molitor's come in close. Ozzie, he's such a good bat control man. With 2 outs, thinks he might drop them down.
And it's ball 1. 1 ball to count. 5-2 to score. Top of the 9th. Cardinals leading. Bases loaded. Pull foul. 1 ball and 1 strike to count. Outside. 2 balls and a strike. High, and it's ball 3. 3-1. Walked him. So it's 6-2.
That'll get Harvey Keene out of the dugout. Got to think of a guy like Vuckovich, probably tired. He's had some shoulder problems late in the season and was getting by a lot with breaking stuff and off-speed pitches. He's had a couple of cortisone shots in the shoulder and has struggled through a lot of pain. And you've got to watch out for him now again, like Andujar. As the series goes along, if it goes to 6 and 7, you could have the same pitching matchup in Game 7, Andujar against Vuckovich. So you get him to throw an extra inning or 2 of pitches, and determine what happens later on down the road.
So Harvey Keene is going to make a pitching change here. Tommy Herr will be the batter. Cardinals 6-2 over Milwaukee. We're in the top of the 9th inning. It's like Bob McClure. That's who it is. It's Bob McClure, who's coming in, a left-hander. So McClure will be facing Tommy Herr here in Game 3 of the Cardinals. Just picked up another run. The base on balls with the bases loaded, so it's a 6-2 ball game. Base is still loaded. Tommy Herr batting right-handed, a 201 average, left-handed 294. There's the strike.
Herr's the kid that during the last 3 weeks of the regular season probably got as many big base hits for this Cardinal team during the pennant stretch than anybody on this ball club. Here, Hernandez, Lonnie Smith, Hendricks. He was a big key for them, talking to Mike Shannon, the Cardinal broadcaster.
Ground ball. Gantner has it. He'll go to first in time, so that ends the inning, but the Cardinals pick up another run. It's St. Louis 6, Milwaukee 2 as we go into the bottom half of the 9th inning. And due up, it'll be Ogilvie, Gorman Thomas, and Don Money.
NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television. We do it like no one else does, and no one else can.
NBC Sports presents a full day of sports on Sunday. Big day tomorrow, and then on Sunday, NFL 82 will kick off the day. Special 1-hour edition. All the latest on the NFL strike. Then it's an NBC Sports special. Starts at 1:30 Eastern Time. Championship NASCAR racing, the Charlotte 500. Plus live boxing, James Bubba Bushimi against Livingston Bramble, a 10-round lightweight battle. Capping off the day, Game 5 of the World Series. All right here on NBC.
But Ben Ogilvie will lead it off here. He is 0 for 3. And it's ball 1. New left fielder is David Green. He's replaced Lonnie Smith. Hernandez boots it, and Ogilvie is on. It's an error on Hernandez, and the Brewers have something going. Let's look at it again.
Hernandez gets over on time. I'm not going to tell how a Gold Glove first baseman should do it, but maybe he should have backhanded. I guess I did just try and tell him. He got over in time to try and block that ball, not guarding the line with the lead, as you might see late in the ball game in a close game. He is so darn aggressive. I know where he played, some first basemen, many would not have gotten to that ball.
So Ogilvie is on. Here is Gorman Thomas. And it is ball 1. Thomas, 1 for 3, struck out in the second, popped to the second baseman, and single to left in the 7th. They have the shift on for Gorman Thomas. He pulls one foul, hit hard. "39 home runs for Gorman Thomas, Ogilvie with 34, Cooper with 32.
There's the shift. Outfield on the left side with his backs to the warning track.
Well hit, way back. Listen to the reaction. Oh, boy. What a catch he made, Willie McGee. Willie McGee, with the bat and with the glove, has been a one-man show tonight.
Gorman hits a high fly ball into left center field. McGee to the wall, leaps in the air, caught the ball. And back to first goes Ogilvie. Willie McGee took a 2-run home run away from Gorman Thomas.
The potential of McGee unlimited. We saw him go deep to the fence to Rob Molitor. This ball is over the yellow line, in the seats. Might have gotten the Brewers back into it. Look at him time that ball.
Great leaping ability. That's like a basketball player going up for a rebound off the fast break.
Don Money, the batter. And we have to vote for the outstanding player. And I'll tell you right now that tonight's NBC Miller High Life outstanding player of the game, you're looking at him, Willie McGee. He just nailed it down with that catch. And Miller High Life is happy to present a check for $1,000 in the name of Willie McGee in the Special Olympics.
And to make that kind of catch in a ballpark that he has never played in before makes it even more outstanding.
That's really a good point. +2 home runs for McGee and a -1 for the other side.
1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out. Don Money, the batter. Outside, 2-1 to count.
Now, Willie McGee's the kid who the Yankees had in their farm system for about 5 years, and then when they got the big Winfield contract, they didn't protect him on the 40-man roster. So a trade was made, Sykes for McGee.
Money takes him, and it's strike 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Second baseman Tommy Herr was way over to Eddie Schiff, even with Money, and now they've just moved him. He's only 2 steps to the second base side of the bag. Cardinals leading by 4. He got him, struck him out. Don Money called out on strikes. So there are 2 away.
Look at the fastball he got him with.
Because we had Andujar charged with a ball earlier for going to the mouth while he was on the pitching circle. And what they're allowing the pitchers to do, because it's cold, is to blow on their hand. And, of course, if you're off the pitching circle, you can even lick your hand if you want to wipe it off afterwards. And Suter didn't exactly do it that time.
Kelly Moore takes a strike.
Suter taught the split-fingered fastball by the late Fred Martin in the minor leagues when they thought his career was over. About ready to get released. And presently, the mechanics, when he gets messed up, he uses a Red Sox minor league pitching coach, Mike Rohr.
This could be the ball game. McGee coming in. He makes the catch. And that ends the ball game. And so Willie McGee, and it was the Willie McGee night as Ozzie Smith, Tommy Herr, youngster with 2 home runs, 1 3-run homer, a sensational catch to take a home run away from Gorman Thomas, and the final score, St. Louis 6-2 over Milwaukee.
And perhaps a bittersweet victory for the St. Louis Cardinals, losing Joaquin Andujar, although the reports are good from the hospital. Andujar pitching brilliantly, but hit in the knee on a shot off the bat of catcher Ted Simmons. But on the plus side, Willie McGee, the rookie, 2 home runs, 4 RBIs, to spark the Cardinals to a key 6-1 in this pivotal 3rd game, and McGee capped it off by robbing a home run from Gorman Thomas.
So Game 3 of the 1982 World Series has been brought to you by Light Beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? And by Gillette Atra Razor, the twin blade razor that pivots for a close, comfortable shave. And by Atari, the leader in home video games for fun your whole family can share. Final score once again, 6-2, St. Louis over Milwaukee. Remember, Saturday it's Game 4, 79th World Series, starting 1 o'clock right here on NBC Sports, the leader in innovative sports television. Now stay tuned for the Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, following your local news, except on the West Coast and most Mountain Time stations, where it'll be seen at its regular time right here on NBC.